welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Mackenzie, and today I am finally getting back into my true crime videos. If you guys are subscribed to me because of my true crime, then you know that it's been about a month since I've posted anything on a Thursday, which is absolutely insane. But I needed to go on this mental break. I had actually done a lot of research on a couple of cases and had worked harder on one of them, harder than I'd worked on almost any other case, because I was so intrigued by it. And unfortunately, the family didn't approve of the video, and so it kind of like crushed my heart. And I mean, obviously any family has any right to, disapprove a video because it's talking about their loved one, and I just want to do my best to like convey their loved one and their story. So I'm not upset that they didn't want it. I'm just upset in myself for not being able to bring them what they were wanting out of me. And so it kind of sent me through like this spiral. A lot of other things have been going on in my life too. I'm thinking about doing just like a life update video because my life gets really crazy sometimes. But as you guys could tell by the intro today and the title of the video, for the next couple of months probably, we're going to be talking about domestic abuse and violence. I think this is a true crime thing that is never really talked about. We talk so much about missing people and murdered people and, things like that, that we're not talking about things that are going on all around us all the time that we just don't talk about. And so today's intro video is just going to be talking about like not really going into too much detail, but just going over like the different kinds of abuse, a little bit of the statistics of what's going on here. And throughout the series, I'm going to be hitting each different kind of abuse and also telling a real life story to go along with that type of abuse. I have had stories sent in to me from literally all over the country, dozens of stories. No real name will be used, no real location will be used, because I don't want anyone's abuser to figure it out, I guess. They have trusted me with these stories. I'm so thankful to have given that trust to people for myself, and I hope that I convey their stories well. If you guys are interested in this domestic violence mini-series, make sure you guys subscribe down below, and while you're down there, ring the notification bell so you can be notified every single time I post a video. I post beauty stuff on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and on Thursdays I will be posting about domestic violence. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into part 1. So first, let's go over the 7 different kinds of abuse that we will be going over throughout this series. The first one is we have emotional abuse, verbal abuse, economic abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, spiritual, and physical abuse. I think it's very important to talk about each kind. Not all abuse you can just see. Some of it you're going to hear, some of it you're going to just be able to kind of tell a vibe. Also today we're going to be going over the signs you can look for in your friends, in your family. See if they're going through this, see if they need to get help. I also want to tell you guys right now that in the description box right now there is multiple different hotlines you can call for domestic abuse and to get counseling, to get help. And even when you go on to the domestic abuse website, they have a whole thing where it's like, hey, if you're afraid someone's going to be like looking through your search history, like click X right now and call this number instead, or go to this website instead and it won't show up. That way, they're giving women and men a way to get out. Let's talk about the 8 different signs that abuse has started or is going on in your relationship or in a friend's relationship. Number 1 is intensity, which means like lying or exaggerating, insisting, like, oh, you have to move in, we have to get married, we have to have kids. It's just like a very intense relationship, and it usually doesn't start out that way. It's like most abusive relationships seem normal at first, and then they very much so get bad. Because if it started out that way, men and women wouldn't stay in the relationship, but it certainly does get that way. So, they're just very over the top, and they're constantly texting you, constantly emailing you, and it's just very intense, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? If you're ever feeling that way, you might be getting into an abusive relationship. And if you guys have watched, this is just an example I thought of, the show This Is Us. It hasn't gotten into this yet, but from what I've watched, but I feel like it will. Skip ahead 20 seconds or so if you don't want to have a spoiler here, but Kate dates a man in the very first season. I can't remember his name right now. Toby. She dates Toby in the very first season, and he's constantly oh, we need to date because you won't date a fat guy. Well, I'm going to lose the weight and we're going to date, we're going to date, we're going to date. and, you know, is doing these huge over-the-top gestures to her, and it's just like, seems like a very intense relationship. And she even tells her brother, like, oh, my guy even turned out to be even crazier than this girl. And to me, it seems like a relationship that they will portray abuse in later throughout the series. But, you know, there is that sign of abuse there. There's also sexual abuse. He's always, you know, kind of pressuring her into sex, things like that. And it hasn't been talked about yet in the show, but I really hope it is, because otherwise they're just normalizing that, and I don't think that that's cool. The second sign is jealousy. You know, they were just becoming irrationally upset with you, whether you're getting a better job, you're getting a better car, you have a new friend, you have a new hobby. They don't want you to be talking to anyone pretty much besides them, whether it's someone of the same sex or opposite sex. It tends to start out with the opposite sex first, and then it moves into anyone but me, why are you even talking to them? You know, they'll start to close you off from your family over time, things like that, where you might be thinking, oh, they'll never make me not talk to my family. It happens. I know it happens. I've gotten stories from people. It happens. People where their mom was their best friend stopped talking to their mom for years because he said no. And so that's another thing. If you notice that they're starting to be jealous of your life and not being proud of you and happy for you and wanting the best for you, then it might be time to take a step back and look at it. The third sign is total control. So again, these kinds of controls start out small, and a lot of it, I think women in particular, and this isn't just about women, by the way, it's about women and men, but they have almost normalized this, where, well, I'm doing it because he likes it, I'm doing it because he likes it, and sometimes that's fine. You know, I totally will wear a certain color because I know my boyfriend likes it sometimes, or, you know, something like that. But when they start telling you, well, you need to wear a turtleneck, you need to wear jeans, you can't show this, you can't show that, you know, and they're controlling you, they're telling you exactly what you need to do, they're, you know, just gonna start showing up places where they're uninvited and unexpected. You know, they're gonna show up at your work without you knowing. You're gonna be out with your friends and they're just going to show up because they have to have that control over you to be able to know exactly what you're doing, to want you to do exactly what they want. And, you know, they're going to be checking your phone and your emails, and, you know, just that lack of trust. And honestly, I think a lot of people too also normalize going through your phone. That's not normal. I was the one who did that. I was like, I need to be going through their phone, I need to make sure they're okay. And for me, that was more like a jealousy thing. So go back to 2, and I was showing that symptom there. And that is absolutely not okay. I have not gone through Ian's phone since we were teenagers. We are now in our 20s. You know, we've been together for 5 years, and I remember when I was 17 and we were dating, I would want to go through his phone and try to figure out how to get into it, and that is so not okay. That is absolutely horrible, and I'm just being honest with you guys here. But, you know, I learned that that was not okay, because I wouldn't want him to be doing that to me. You know, that's such, like, private, even if you're not doing anything wrong, like, that is just your own private space, and no one should be going through it. So if someone's doing that to you, that's not okay, and if you're doing it to someone, no, it's not okay. If you don't feel like you can be trusting that person, you probably shouldn't be with them. Number 4 is isolation. So this is when they are insisting and persisting that you only spend time with them. And so that means that you can't see your friends, you can't see your family. So in number 2, jealousy, we were talking about how they only let you talk to them. Now it's you can't see anybody else but them. You are forbidden from going anywhere or doing anything. And again, these things start out small. So when you start to notice these small symptoms of, Mackenzie, you can't hang out with Paige anymore. Well, if Paige did something very terrible and had hurt Ian or hurt me in some way, and, you know, he was kind of trying to help me, he's like, I don't think you should hang out with Paige, that's another thing. But Paige is my best friend, and she's never done anything horrible to me or horrible to Ian. So if he said something like that, I would be a little bit taken back and be like, what are you trying to get here? Because really I only hang out with her and Mandy, so to me I would start to feel very isolated very fast. Number 5 is criticism, and again, I feel like this is something people normalize. We let it happen to ourselves. Constantly we're like, oh, I'm ugly, I'm not as skinny, I'm stupid, I'm crazy. And the truth is, you're not. Like, every single person is beautiful in their own way. You might not be smart in this particular subject, but you are smart about something. That does not make you a stupid human being just because you are uneducated about something. So really stop calling yourself those things, because then it makes people think it's okay to do when it's not at all. And by you allowing someone to call you those things and you're just like, haha, yep, I am. This is going to start to brainwash you. And to me, number 5 is the biggest reason men and women stay in an abusive relationship. If you tell me that every time you yell at me or every time you hit me, it's because I was wrong, I was doing something, I was so stupid, I should have washed that pan, I'm going to believe you over time. It's going to brainwash me into thinking, well, I deserve this, of course he's going to hit me, what else could I have done? I of course am being the person in the wrong here. And to me, this is the biggest one. When you notice someone starting to treat you so poorly like this, you need to get help. Number 6 is sabotage. Making you miss work, hiding your money, and, taking your belongings. So, oh, you wanted to go shopping, but you can't now because I have your money. Things that are going to make you have a meltdown because you're very stressed out about it happening, make you feel like you need to confide in this person more, but really they're the ones who did it to you. And another part of sabotage too is making you feel like you're crazy. And I'm going to, throughout the stories, be pointing out where these different signs are throughout the stories, and just show you guys how prevalent these things are to, they're gonna make you feel crazy, they're gonna make you feel alone, they're gonna make you feel helpless, and you're gonna know nothing but then to confide in them because you don't realize necessarily that they're the ones doing this. You think it's all you think it's in your own head. Number 7 is blame, and this to me goes right along with number 5, and this is where it's going to make you feel guilty, and their behavior is directly your problem, and that's not right at all. Everybody controls their own behavior. Don't feel like because you did this, they have to hit you for it, they have to yell at you for it, they have to punish you in some way, and it can be any of the different kinds of abuse that they're punishing you, and for you to just, it will get in your head eventually, like, yeah, it's my fault, because you get told that so much that what else are you supposed to do, especially if you're in number 4 isolation, you don't have anyone really telling you that it's not your fault. And we get very brainwashed very easily. Number 8, and the last one, is anger. So they are going to be overreacting to little things, violent outbursts, threatening you, picking fights for no reason. And a lot of times people who start to experience number 8 will be having severe mood swings. They'll be wanting to drink a lot, go out and party all the time. They're just constantly mad at you out of nowhere. You'll be sitting on the couch having a great time, and all of a sudden they storm off, they're pissed. And there's no reason for this, really. There's no justification for it besides they're also going crazy and they're taking it out on you, and that's absolutely, like I've said many times, it's not okay. There's no justification ever for abuse. So those are the 8 big signs, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 1 of my domestic abuse series today. I hope you guys will join me next time as I tell an absolutely crazy story and we start to talk about the different signs that are shown throughout this domestic abuse story. And make sure you subscribe down below and hit the notification bell so you guys can see when that video goes up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!